Welcome back to the Celestine Light Esoteric Mystery School. Thanks for being here today. Appreciate your time. I'll make it worth your while. Today we're going to be talking to Starlene and sharing some of her experiences, or she's going to share some of her experiences with Guardian Angels and also some of her insight about Guardian Angels. Very important topic. Guardian Angels are your friends. They can be tremendously helpful if you establish a friendship with them. Today you're going to learn a little bit more about that.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Starlene. Yes, I've had some really fun and fascinating experiences with my guardian angels. My first guardian angel that I consciously connected to, which has been in fairly recent times before I really knew of him and his name, and he had me just sit down at the beginning, because I had asked him, so when did you save me at some time in my life, or was there a time? And he just flashed all these little short pictures through my head of times in my life, starting at 3 years old and then on up to the present, of times where he had been there and helped me. He or my other guardian angel had helped me. And at that time I wasn't sure I had another guardian angel. I hadn't checked that out yet. So I'll tell you more about that. And so I'm going to only tell you a couple times here, but the first time that was so strong in my mind was when I was 4 years old. I'd been camping with my parents, and my brother and I were running down this very steep, root-filled driveway down to our campground, racing, and really fast. I was very fast at 4 years old. And right before we got to the car, and it was an old Ford car with one of those sharp pointed ends that the old cars had, like a fin, and I tripped on a root and just slammed right into that point, and it went right into my solar plexus. The part I remember is tripping, slamming, and dropping to the ground on my knees, and then I don't remember anything. My parents said that I almost scared them to death. My eyes bugged out and I was gasping for air, and then I passed out. So the next thing I remember was they carried me into the tent and laid me down on a little sleeping bag bed there, and the next thing I remember is hearing my name far, far in the distance, real tiny it sounded like, and they said my name, and then it got a little bit louder, and it seemed like it took forever. It's like I was coming up out of water, and it got louder and louder until finally it was loud enough that I was present. When I woke up, my eyes flashed open, or popped open. And so the first thing I told my parents, because I had just had this vivid remembrance of a witch, this being in a long robe, and I thought of it as a witch or something, but a good witch that was there helping me. And of course none of that made sense to my parents, so they just totally discounted that. And I kind of let that go, although I never forgot that my first connection with my guardian angel. I just didn't know what that was at the time. So this was one of the stories that he showed me that, yes, that was him. I was his witch, and he was my witch. So after that experience, I didn't have any harm to my body. My parents actually we went home. We were a long ways from home, and they were afraid that I might have damage, but there was none when we got home and the doctor checked me out. But my guardian angel did share with me that I did have some very severe damage in internal organs, and it was fixed. My guardian angels took care of it for me. So that was pretty cool. But so the next time I've had was fairly recent, where I had many times in between there, but my most recent one was just a few months ago. I was washing windows, and we had a big tall ladder to get up to those high windows, because there were some very high windows in this home. And my partner had already put the ladders away. We were done and everything, but he had left. And so I went in the house just kind of checking a couple things, and I happened to spot, of all things, on one of the very high windows, a couple spots that were outside. Well, I had to fix them, so I had to put a rag on a window pole and figure out what I was going to do. The ladders were too heavy for me to carry back. So there was this big stone wall, fairly high and only about 6 inches across, and so I hopped up on it And I walked across and I got right under the window, and I had my 20-foot pole in my hand and with the rag, and I was all ready, but I felt shaky, I felt off balance, and it was a steep drop off on each side, and I would have been hurt pretty badly if I would have fallen, most likely. So I just stopped, and I called in my guardian angel and I said, I need help. Can you anchor me so I don't fall? I have to get the spot on the window. And it was immediate. It was the coolest thing because it was a physical thing. I could just feel. I was just like solid, as if I was on solid ground, only I was even more solid than that. There wasn't the slightest bit of off balance or anything, and I was easily able to just reach up with my pole and take care of the couple spots on the window. It was amazing. It's hard to describe it because it was so amazing. And so I finished that real quick and hopped off the wall, and I was done. So then another time, very recently, I was just talking to my guardian angel one morning and saying, I just kind of woke up feeling kind of out of it, and I'm not usually in a down mood, but I just felt kind of down. And I said, I don't like it when I'm like that, and I don't know what caused it. But I was just sharing with him. I wasn't asking anything. I talked to him every day. I had been, and so about maybe 2 or 3 hours later, all of a sudden, out of the blue, I was just filled with a euphoric, happy, joyful feeling. It's like it was miraculous, and I couldn't figure out what's going on. Why would I just suddenly be super, super happy and joyful? And I thought of him, and I said, that's you, isn't it? And he kind of chuckled in my head, and he said, yes. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, I'm sprinkling happy dust on you. So ever since then, every once in a while, I ask him, I said, I could use some happy dust. And sometimes he does it because I've asked him to just pop in on me during the day, because I want to learn how to communicate so it's not always me asking for help or asking to talk to him. I'd like him to be able to connect with me. So I said, if you've got a free moment, pop in on me. So he does, but he usually does it with his happy dust. So that's how I know he's there right away. So it's a fun thing that you can ask of your guardian angel, particularly if you have depression problems. It's very, very powerful. So I'll share one final thing with you on how I received the names of both my guardian angels. Embrosewyn had mentioned several ways to do so, and I have a little different way that I did mine. I sat down, I laid down, and I had Shiliana help me, and with her pen and pencil, pen and paper, and I asked my guardian angel, what's the very first letter of your name? And right away in my head I got what it was. It just flashed into my head strongly. I kind of like saw it and felt it. So she wrote that down. And I said, how many syllables are in the name? And I got that. A number appeared in my head. And then so I said, well, what's the next sound then? What's that next syllable start with? How does it sound? And right away I got that. It was going really quick now. And then I got the third. I only had 3 syllables in that name, and it was really easy. And so Shiliana wrote it down for me, and as we read it back, we got it, and I got that clear with my angel that yes, I had it correct. So then it was a little later on that after that I had sat down and I asked my guardian angel, so I have another guardian angel, is that correct? And he said, yes, you do. You have a female. And she's waiting for you to acknowledge her. So I said, okay. I asked her, I said, what's the first letter of your name? And I got that. And so it was a similar thing, but this time I was able to do it on my own because I've been talking to my own guardian angel for so long. And so I was able to easily get the whole name, and it was just fun. It was so fun to do that on my own like that.
Thank you, Starlene. Well, that's it for today's lesson on Guardian Angels, part 3 of a 4-part series. Part 4 coming up next. See you next lesson. Namaste, my brothers and sisters.